morning. You're welcome to Unibek group of schools. I'm Mrs. Charity Obidike. And here our topic for today is high-level programming languages. High-level programming languages. Now, you will agree with me that the advent of computer is very important to our generation, like what is happening here now. Through e-learning, we can learn from distant places, and we can also share information between one another. That is why computing is very, very important. Here today, we're talking about high-level languages. The computer, we know, cannot operate itself. It needs the software to make it to function. What do I mean? The software controls the operation and performance of the computer. Invariably, it means that without the software, the computer cannot function. That is why programming languages have a major role to play in computing. What is programming? Programming is the art of writing, coding, and running computer programs in the computer. Now we're talking about high-level languages. A programming language is an artificial language used to write a set of instructions that can be run by a computer. A programming language is designed by a programmer fed into the computer to express computation being run by a computer. We all know that language is the source of communication among human beings. And for a user to communicate information, you need to have a language that the computer can understand. Ordinarily, computers do not understand English language. Whatever we key into the computer, there is what we call the program translator inbuilt into the computer that enable all data and data entered into the computer to be converted into what? Computer-oriented code. And that is the language the computer understands. Now let's look at what we mean by high-level languages. The term high does not really mean that the high-level programming languages are more important than other languages. It simply means that high-level languages are more easier to learn than low-level languages. They are easier to learn and to understand, because its language instructions are written in algorithms and English notation. And that is why we say they are what? They are high, in the sense that they are easier to learn than other programming languages. Now let's look at why is programming languages important to the computer. I said earlier on that without the program, the computer cannot function. It needs the program to control the operation and performance of the computer. How do I mean? It tells the computer on what to do and how to do it. That is why the program is important to the computer. Programming languages are problem-solving programs that foster the interactive communication of programs between the programmer and the computer. Now, for you to have a good program, you must start from somewhere. For you to write a good computer program, you must start from somewhere. Let's look at some of the examples of high-level languages. Like we have here, you have the Ada Augusta. This program is written by the programmer called Ada Augusta. Ada Augusta is the first programmer that wrote a program that enabled the computer to function. The next one is the Algol. algorithmic language. This program is written in what? Algorithms, such that it's written in line statement numbers. Now, the next one you have there is the basic language. Basic simply means beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. Why is basic called the beginner's language? It is called the beginner's language because of its simplicity and flexibility. Basic language instructions are written in line statements and these instructions are case sensitive, like you can see here. Basic instructions are case sensitive. What do I mean by that? Basic line instructions are written in capital letters. Otherwise, the basic program will not accept its coding. Now, if you look at the basic program carefully, this basic program is a question derived from WAEC 2018. And the question says, write a basic program that accepts mass and volume of a liquid as input from the user. The program should compute and display the density of the liquid. Now, as individuals, we know that density is equal to what? Mass over volume. You are calculating the density of a volume, you must have the formula as mass over volume. Now, let's move over to the program. I said that basic is case sensitive in the sense that all basic line instructions are written in capital letters. Here you have the first line statement which says re. The re means what? Remark. And this is the line number. In basic programming languages, the basic statement instructions are written sequentially, and that is how they are executed line by line from top to bottom. Re means what? Remark. Now, the remark statement is used to indicate the purpose of that particular program. Here you have displayed the density of a liquid. Now, as a young programmer, you must also have some of the input variables. What do I mean by the variables? You have here the variable D representing the density of the liquid. You have V representing the volume, and you have the M representing mass. Now, that is line statement number 2, where you have input the density, the volume, and the mass of the liquid. The next line statement says, let D, which is the density, be equal to what? The mass over volume. Now, once you press the enter key, automatically the result will be displayed on the console on your window. Now, you also have line 4 as to print when you say print, it displays the result of the density, which is the mass over volume. Line 5, you have print density. We all have it with once you say input DVM, the computer has created a space in the memory location to store the density, the volume, and the mass. And here you have said print D. Print D simply means what? To print the density of the liquid. And after that, what comes next? The program comes to an end. And once you type the end statement, automatically that terminates the program. So that is how the basic program is written in line statement. And that is why we say that basic is the beginner's language due to its simplicity and flexibility. The next you have there is that the advantages of high-level language. Advantages of high-level language. The first one you will have is portable. High-level languages are portable across platforms. What do I mean by they are portable across platforms? High-level languages are developed to run on any type of computer such that such programs can be transferred from one computer to another. That is why we say that they are what? Portable. So such programs that can be transferred from one particular program, from one particular computer to another are very important. Like what we are doing here right now, we're taking our learning directly from here, and there is a program in your system that transfer it. That is what we mean by the e-learning. It transfer it to reaching places and distances where we can have our studies conveniently. The next one is easy to learn. High-level languages are easy to learn in the sense that such language instructions are close to human language. That is, they are similar to the English language, and as such, they are easy to learn and understand. The next you have there is that the high-level languages are easy to write, to modify, and to debug. The debugging convenience. What do I mean by debugging? After writing your programs and coding, you need to what? Correct errors. Debugging is the method used to correct or to effect changes to correct errors in programming languages. The last thing you have is less error and easy debugging convenience compared to low-level languages. High-level languages are what? Have less error due to what? Their simplicity. Okay? So now let's go over to the disadvantages. The disadvantages of what? High-level languages. The disadvantages are the high-level languages has to be translated into the machine code. And for you to be able to translate the high-level language into machine code, that machine has to be, you have to install an interpreter. Let's take our mind back to SS1. When we were in SS1, we were taught language translator. And we learned about the basic, the types of translators. You have the interpreter, you have the compiler, and you have the assembler. The assembler are program translators that convert low-level language, assembly language into what? Machine-oriented language. And that is what we mean by what? The machine code. The source code is the language the user, the translator is converting into machine code. And the machine language is called the object code. The next you have there is the compiler. The compiler is the language translator that converts source code into what? Object code. That is, it translates language written in a particular language to another language. Okay? And now you have the interpreter. And that brings us to our high-level language. The interpreter is the language translator that converts high-level languages into machine code. Remember, I told you earlier on that the computer do not understand the human language. Rather, it understands its what? Machine-oriented code. And for the high-level language to be understood by the computer, you need to install an interpreter into your computer to be able to convert the high-level language into what? The machine-oriented code. Thank you very much. I hope you understand what I mean by the use of the interpreter. Now let's move to the disadvantages of the next one you have is that the object code generated by the translator might be inefficient compared to an equivalent assembly language. The assembly language can only be translated from its low-level stage to machine code with the use of the translator called the assembler. Okay? I hope you understood the language translator have just explained. We've learned that long ago how program translators are used to convert programming languages into what? The machine-oriented code. And that is why high-level programming languages are very important in the sense that they are what? Easy to learn and to understand. Thank you very much. We'll come back together some other time. Thank you.